Here's what happened.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Nancy Sawyer is suing her former housekeeper, Alicia Navarez, and her husband, Edgar, for stealing belongings from a storage unit and for incomplete services.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 108 on the calendar in the matter of Sawyer versus Narvaez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Sawyer, you were moving from one place to another, downsizing. Where were you moving from?
I was moving from Georgetown, Texas to Cedar Park, Texas.
How far is that?
Oh, maybe about a 30-minute drive.
Now, when you moved from one place to another, what was the name of the moving company that you used?
Brow.
On what date did you move?
I moved on Christmas Eve.
How much did you pay Brow to move you?
Oh, I would say about $900.
And Mrs. Navarez
Yes, ma'am.
was your housekeeper.
Yes, she was.
And you asked her to clean the house for the new people.
Yes.
And in exchange for that, you didn't pay her.
No.
You told her that there were certain items that she could have from your storage unit.
No.
How did you
No,
intend...
that is not correct, Judge.
Miss Sawyer, how did you intend to pay Miss Navarez?
I asked her how she would like to be paid.
And what did she say?
She said that she would like all my furniture in my storage room.
Okay. And on what date or month did you have that conversation with her? Was that in December?
It was probably shortly after the first of the year.
Well, you told me that Brow moved you on Christmas Eve. That would be in December. And she was cleaning after you moved in January?
She was cleaning between December and January. I had to be out of the house by January 4th.
Oh, so
But she continued to clean even after the 4th.
And for that, her payment was going to be the furniture from your storage unit.
Not exactly.
Well, you tell me
It was a conditional agreement between us that I did not know what was in my storage room because I had never seen what was moved into my storage room. That I be able to see what was in that storage room before any action was taken, and then we would go together and look at what was in that storage room.
Well, why didn't you go do that before she started to work?
Because I couldn't find the key. My son had taken the key, and he couldn't find it.
Well, Miss Sawyer, I just want you to recognize what you're telling me, because this is what your case is about.
Yes, ma'am. I understand, and I felt like that,
just,
too.
Well,
so I had him to keep looking, Judge, and
Miss
he
Sawyer,
found that key.
Miss Sawyer.
Yay, for my son.
Miss Sawyer, what you said is, in this complaint, that she took things that you didn't want her to take from the storage room.
No, I did not say that.
Well, let's see.
She took things, but you need to listen to me.
No, I don't need to listen to you. You need to listen to me, because I'm Miss Sawyer, because now I'm speaking.
I understand
that.
Good.
I'm reading.
I haven't finished my story.
I didn't ask you for any more of your story. This isn't free form.
No.
This is
what you ask.
This is what I ask. On the morning of January 4th, I turned in my keys. After the new homeowners moved in, they sent pictures, and the house was filthy. There were mud tracks, cobwebs, dirty kitchen, the panty. I contacted Alicia, and she claimed to have cleaned the entire house. But I had photo $1,500 deposit for incidentals. They kept the deposit because the home was dirty and because Edgar had broken a bookcase or an entertainment center. By this point, I had given the key to the storage to Edgar. We had gone to the unit, but planned to come back when we had better lighting. Well, according to you, they did work for which you did not pay them. And I'm going to ask you, how much do you think that they did in work between December and January, when they finished what they were doing? Because certainly she worked for you.
I do that.
Well, then,
I do
you
know
tell
that.
me, then and since you didn't know what was in the storage unit, that's on you. How do you know that they took things that you didn't want them to take?
Because I told both of them that no action, I never agreed that they could have anything until I saw what was in the storage room. They both knew that.
Don't tell me what they knew.
So when we...
Just listen to me. You can't tell me what they knew. You can tell me what you said to them.
What I said to them.
Shh. What you said to them and what they said to you. But you can't tell me what they knew. That calls for you going into their brain.
But they said okay.
You can tell me what they said, and you did, in fact, go to the storage unit with them.
I went with Edgar.
I don't know, whatever. You went to the storage unit with one of the defendants. On what date did you go to the storage unit with one of the defendants?
It was shortly after the 4th. And we went, it was late in the afternoon, it was getting dark, and I wanted him to see what was in the storage room. And there, right within maybe 15 inches of the storage room door, was my son's, when he was a teenager, his whole bedroom suit. And it was blocking what we could see. And so Edgar got his cell phone, and he turned on the flashlight that was in his cell phone, and he was holding it up, trying to shine behind my son's bedroom suit. The only thing I could see was my mother and daddy's bedroom suit at the very back wall. Now, this was a bedroom suit that they had had... Well,
don't go off to a tributary. Just tell me, you saw your son's bedroom set and your parents' bedroom set.
That was old, very old.
I don't care if it was old. This has to be old.
Like,
We're old.
It attributes
so your
to
parents
the
are
value.
your parents are older.
It attributes to the value of it.
How much did you pay them to do the cleaning? And in addition to cleaning, did they from the house to your new house?
No.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true, Your Honor. We never moved anything from one house to her
to
house.
another.
But
Okay.
we did move a lot of things from one house to another, but not to her new house. No.
To where?
She sold all the items that were in her house, all the furniture, to Linda Hosso because she was going to lose out on her estate sale.
Just a second. In addition to cleaning the house, Miss Sawyer, did you sell furniture in your house to this lady over here?
What lady?
Who's sitting right over here?
Would you like me to stand up?
To Linda.
Maybe she can't see.
To Linda
Could you-
Hosso.
Oh,
Did
there
you
she
say?
is.
Did you just? That's a yes, or you may sit down, please.
I sold not all my furniture.
Did you sell furniture to her?
Yes, I did.
Did
Lowball price.
Listen to me. Who moved the furniture that you sold from the house to the witness's house?
Edgar.
How much did you pay him? How much did you pay him?
Nothing.
So far, he's moved furniture and she's cleaned.
And I moved furniture to Your Honor.
Just a second. Could you stand up, please? What furniture items did you purchase?
Can I interrupt?
No, you may not.
But
the answer is you may not.
I think you need to understand why she bought my furniture.
The answer is you may not. The question has nothing to do with what she bought. The question has to do with how much Edgar moved for nothing. Now, would you tell me what items that you purchased from Miss Sawyer?
There was a living room couch and chair and coffee table and end tables, a desk, and there was a wall unit that Mrs. Sawyer called a wall unit, and I mistakenly asked her if the entertainment center went.
Okay, how much did you pay for all of that?
$3,000.
And how were these big items delivered?
I took and rented a U-Haul truck, and then I hired Edgar and Alicia to help me move the stuff.
Did you pay them?
Yes.
How much did you pay them?
A total of $400.
Okay, so you paid them $400. Now you may sit down. Did you move any, put your hand down. Did you move any furniture other than to her house?
Yes, Your Honor.
To whose?
To her vehicle. I did move some stuff into her car.
Just a second. I read your answer. Your answer said that you did a lot of other things moving. Now, you brought her, but she paid you for moving. So that's not Miss Sawyer's responsibility from your witness, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So all we are talking about is your cleaning service. How many days did you clean?
Approximately, maybe...
No, I don't want to know approximately.
Maybe about 6 days total. She had trash in her garage.
Listen to me carefully. Did you work for Miss Sawyer before?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
Probably by that time about...
Think, just a second, before you talk. Miss Sawyer says you were her housekeeper. For how long were you her housekeeper before she moved? 6 months, a year,
Oh, yeah,
2 years.
it was about maybe approximately like 7 months.
And how much did she pay you?
$80 every time I went there.
And she paid you for every day that you worked there.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
there came a time when she stopped paying you.
Correct.
And that was because you made an arrangement with her that you would get the stuff in the storage room.
Correct.
Now,
She claimed she
this
had
is
a lot of
about-
antiques in there.
Don't speak.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She cleaned the house, and you didn't pay her anything.
I was willing, Judge, but if there was something I wanted, then I would take that.
Or if you wanted everything.
Cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Nancy Sawyer says her former housekeeper, Alicia Navarez, and her husband, Edgar, owe for stealing furniture from her storage unit and for not properly cleaning her home when she moved out.
Now, had you ever been in the storage room?
No, ma'am.
Did she pay you up until January 4th?
Yes.
So it was the after cleaning, the moving out cleaning, that you were going to be paid from the storage unit.
Correct.
Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
And on January 4th, you sent your husband and the plaintiff to the storage unit to look and see what was in the storage unit.
No.
Did you go to the storage unit with the plaintiff on January 4th?
He just went there to pick up the
I
key.
don't. Just
No,
a second.
he didn't.
Yes, he
Hey,
did.
I'm not asking you anything. I'm talking to him. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
On January 4th, did you and Miss Sawyer go to the storage unit together? She says you did.
It was actually the 6th, but yes, I met her there.
It was the 6th.
Yeah.
Between the 4th and the 6th, did you do any cleaning?
Yes.
On what date did you do cleaning?
I started on the 4th.
Check. And the 6th, what day did you do cleaning?
4th, 5th, and 6th. And 7th and 8th.
So you did cleaning on the 4th without knowing what was in the storage unit.
Your Honor, our
Judge,
agreement... but you need to hear this because it's very important. Our agreement was not agreed upon the storage on the 4th. This was on January the 6th that I agreed to get paid with that storage key.
That's all right, but that was after your husband went there. That was
But
after...
my husband went there because I asked him to pick up the storage key.
That is not true.
Miss Sawyer, I want you to understand that you cannot have people work for you for nothing.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, well,
and I
so
was willing to do that, but what she is saying is not true.
Well, how do you expect me to resolve the fact that the defendant worked and cleaned your house up until January 4th, for which you paid her $80 a day, and after that, after you moved out, and Brow moved you, but I know what it's like to move out of a house, what it looks like, and trash, okay? And after that, you didn't pay her anything. She cleaned the house, and you didn't pay her anything.
I was willing, Judge, but this is what happened that you haven't given me. When I left the key with Edgar, I told him this is for he and Alicia to come back together and go through the storage room. And then I would come and join up with them another day, and we would go through, and I would see if there was anything that I wanted out of that storage room.
Now, does that make sense?
And so we would agree when we could get together. And if there was something I wanted, then I would take that.
Or if you wanted everything.
It could be,
Just
but
a second.
I doubt
just
that.
a second. Or if you wanted everything. And then they had done the work.
Well, I knew at least 2 things that were in there.
Well, then you draw up a piece of paper and say you can't have these 2 things. You went there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The work that Alicia did, how much do you think it was worth?
I would have given
Just
her
a
the
sec-
whole storage room if there was not one piece of furniture that I wanted.
Okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Nancy Sawyer is accusing her former housekeeper, Alicia Navarez, and her husband, Edgar, of theft and for not properly cleaning her home when she moved out.
Okay. Instead of giving him the key to the storage, which you gave him the key to the storage,
To
which
keep,
I don't care.
Why would you
until
do that?
Alicia could come and see what was in there. Then we would get together, and I would see if there was anything that was meaningful to me.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Ms.
then
Sawyer,
they could have the rest.
Miss Sawyer.
But may I finish, please, Judge?
No.
This is an important part, and it is meaningful to me what happened, because I considered them my friends. I trusted them.
Miss Sawyer, the work that Alicia did, how much do you think it was worth?
It was worth giving her as a recommendation to the new buyers. I trusted her. She was wonderful.
Just a second. What you're saying, Miss Sawyer, is you think that they should have cleaned your house between the 4th and the 9th, and in exchange for that, you were going to let them pick whatever furniture and things you didn't want from the shed, and you were going to recommend them as a cleaning company to the new buyer.
I would have given her the whole storage room if there was not one piece of furniture that I called her in 2 days to see if she had gotten a chance to look at it. She said, "Oh, Nancy, Edgar and I have already cleaned out the furniture out of the storage room and turned in the key." And I said, "You what?" I said, "Both of you knew that I wanted to at least look at what was in there." I said, "What did you do with the furniture? Did you sell it?" And she said, "Oh, I've got to call Edgar," and she hung up on me.
That's a flat-out lie.
That is not a lie, and you know good and well. And so for the next couple of days, I tried to call her, and she never answered the phone.
Prior to going...
So that's the way it was left.
Now I have the whole story.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, when was the last time prior to January 4th that you had gone into that storage room?
Never.
Case is dismissed. We're done. You paid her. Listen, you have to make a deal.
They had agreed to that.
They agreed to take what was in the storage unit in lieu of getting paid for all the work that they did.
And what work did they do when they left? Have you seen the evidence of how they left the house?
Just a second. I would like to see it.
Please.
I would like to see it. Pictures.
Your Honor, and that was after the new owner moved in.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
On the first day.
No, ma'am. The new owners moved in, Your Honor. I worked very hard, Nancy, for 7 days.
Give the description of
throwing away
I just want to see photographs.
Where's the letter the owner wrote?
What are we talking about?
That's the broken cabinet that was...
I don't care about that. I want to see cleaning. You said you have photographs that they didn't clean. Show me the photographs that they didn't clean.
This is what... We have a letter from the owner.
Case is over. Bye.
No, we have letters from the owner describing. Judge, here's
Goodbye.
Give that to the judge.
Sure. Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Happy with her judgment today because I'm a very hard worker.
They did not agree to the verbal agreement we had made.
For her to flat out lie to Judge Judy today, it hurt me more than anything.
She is no longer my friend.
So I try to help, but this is a hard lesson that I have to learn, and I have to learn to say no.
Where's her dog? Where's her dog?
A pet held hostage.
If she could settle what she owed me, she could have her dog.
Well, I want to know where her dog is.
Can the owner come to the rescue?
She know exactly where the dog is at.
It's not there. That's a lie. His witness that's sitting down went with us to go get the dog.
His witness can't even find the knees for his pants.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
18-year-old Beatrice Barkin is suing her ex-boyfriend's brother, Avis Wright, for stealing her dog.
Order. All rise. It's case number 80 on the calendar, the matter Barkin versus Wright.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Wright, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Who do you live with?
Currently, I got a little situation going on. I live in North Dakota, but I'm currently in Minnesota taking care of some personal problems. So. But I got a house in North Dakota. I live with my wife in North Dakota.
I don't hear a word you say.
Where do I live? I said I live in North Dakota, but I'm currently in Minnesota taking care of some personal situation.
Where do you work?
I work for MnDOT in Minnesota doing construction.
How many days a week do you work there doing construction?
It depends on what work we got available.
Where's her dog?
I work.
Where's her dog?
Her dog is over North Minneapolis.
Is where?
Is in North Minneapolis.
What's the address? What's the address where the dog is?
Is James Avenue.
You do want to get home, don't you?
That don't matter to me.
You want to stay in Los Angeles?
I mean, you don't even know. You don't know what's going on. So
let me tell you what's going on. What's going on is Miss Barkin says she gave you her dog to train.
That's what she
said.
said.
Now, with your current situation, from wherever you are to wherever you are, you're not in any place where you have a dog.
Exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
So I want to know where her dog is.
Her dog is where I just told you is at.
With whom?
To the place that I reside at. That's where it's at for right now. I live in Minneapolis, man. There's a lot of things going on that
I don't care about your life.
I don't know how to explain. I
don't want to care about your life. Who's taking care of the dog now?
I don't know how to answer your question. I am still taking care of the dog.
Well, you're not taking care of the dog. You're between two different states. How could you be taking care of the dog? You travel with the dog?
I just told you I'm in Minnesota currently now, but my address, you asked me where do I live. I live my home station in Minnesota.
I only want to know where
you asked
the
me a
dog
question,
is.
I will have to explain that question to you.
No, I don't want you to explain.
I don't know what answer you're looking for.
I just want you to tell me where the dog is.
And I just did.
Good. Now, today, as we're standing here, who's watching the dog?
My sister is.
And what's your sister's name?
What's the relevance of all of that?
I want to know what your sister's name is.
I don't want to disclose that information because she don't have nothing to do with this dog party. If she could settle what she owed me, she could have her dog. That person don't have nothing to do with it. This lady have not paid nothing. I got evidence to prove everything she talking about is a lie. I just want to go through the evidence and you can face that. But however, me giving somebody else's name, I'm not going to do that.
Mr. Wright, if you had a counterclaim...
I don't want a counterclaim. She going to lose her case regardless because she owed me. I don't owe her nothing. I don't owe her nothing, period.
Let me explain something to you. You got a dog, probably, and you had no right to get a dog because you didn't know how to take care of it. Do you understand?
Know where the dog to stay. The dog stayed with me from the day she bought the dog and been in my house the whole time.
Shut up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do us both a favor. Just listen, okay? All right.
You probably had no business getting a dog because it doesn't sound to me as if you chose a very, very together person. He works construction 5 days a week.
That's
what
a lie.
Hey, don't speak to me.
I'm sorry, but...
Don't speak to me.
Okay.
Don't speak to me. He says he works construction 5 days a week. Bird, would you take his phone away from him?
I was going to show you.
Take his phone away from him.
Days ago.
Bird.
Yeah, your phone. There you go. Thanks.
You got the dog when?
March 31st.
From the beginning of April to today's date, how many days has the dog been with you?
From March 31st until May 2nd when I gave him the dog was with me in the night. The dog only spent one night with him. The dog spent most of the nights with me, and the dog spent a night with his niece. And he got the dog from his niece's house when I was at work.
Do you know this address that he's talking about?
He's lying about that. He does not know. He has 2 blood sisters, and I know their names, and I know their address, and I know where they live. He's lying. He doesn't... I know his sister because why? His brother is my ex-boyfriend, so therefore... His brother...
Just a second. Different program.
Okay.
Right now, I don't know where the dog is. Neither do you. I don't know whether he has it, whether he sold it.
He sold
whether
it.
He did something wrong with him. Okay, so it's a good thing that you didn't do what you had for a year or 2 or 3 or 4. I want you to show me a bill of sale from where you bought the dog.
Here you go. Do I bring it, sir?
What made you... This is nothing. What is this?
That's my receipt from the lady I bought it from.
It's not a receipt for anything. It's not signed by anybody.
It is a receipt. I have messages. I bought it from on Facebook.
Good. If you have messages, I'll take a look at Facebook messages.
She purchased the dog.
I purchased the dog. I bought the dog.
Don't speak to her. or I'm sending him back. And he makes you look very short.
I am short. And,
I want to see something that I believe. This is nonsense. It's not a bill of sale. It's not signed by anybody. You go into a store and you can get a receipt like this. It's a nothing.
Okay, but that's the point. I bought it off a Facebook app. I bought the dog from this lady named Shannon. I had to drive like 2 hours away from Minnesota to go get the dog at 9.
So let me see. You said you had texts from this woman, Shannon, from where you bought the dog. Let me see them. This is nothing. It's zero.
These are text messages of when I still owed her $200. Money order right there.
May I see?
The dog was $350.
Shh. I see 150 sent by MoneyGram.
I sent.
Shh. I see $150 sent by MoneyGram to Shannon. I want you to point out, yes. Okay, right here on March 30th. Don't forget the $200 owed on the puppy tomorrow. I won't, trust me. I'm super excited. Got everything for my puppy. Got it. Now I want to see a picture of the puppy. What kind of dog was it?
It's a poodle mixed with a beagle.
Now I'm going to get back to you. He got the dog for some sort of training. He says you owe him for dog training. He did. And if you don't pay him for the dog training, you're not getting the dog back. He doesn't have a counterclaim. That's what the case is about. Now, which sister is taking care?
She's not my biological sister. She's a friend I've been knowing for over 20 years, so.
Well, because she knows your biological sisters. You have two quiet, my mouth is moving. You have two biological sisters. So neither one of your sisters is watching the dog. Who's watching the dog? Listen, let me explain what it's going to cost you. Do you understand?
I'm listening.
I'm going to explain. You're supposed to get an appearance fee for coming on this show. Do you understand? You either get it or not. Your choice.
I have the dog over in North Minneapolis at the
I
place
can't
where...
understand you. You have the dog where?
I just told you the same thing I'm about to repeat, and you keep cutting me off. I said I have the dog over in Minneapolis where she don't try to go in the house and break in the house and take the dog multiple times while I had to hide it while she thought I was at work. She know exactly where the dog is at. The lady that the dog is at, I live in that house in Minneapolis, but I'm not gonna give you that lady name. But she know where the dog is at.
Okay. Raise your hand if you tried to go and get the dog.
Both of them.
Raise your hand. Good. Okay, so you know where the dog is?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the dog, you know what the dog is?
It's not there. It's not there.
Because when they went there, I had them get I already knew they was going to go do it.
That's a lie. And
so
plus,
I had to hide the dog.
His witness that's sitting down went with us to go get the dog.
His witness can't even find the knees for his pants. I am going to give you an order that you can bring to a marshal. The marshal will execute that order with you. What we're going to do with the defendant's appearance fee is hold it until you get your dog back. Do you understand? Now, he can go back to Minneapolis. He can go wherever he wants to go. He can do that.
Yes,
but he is going without any money. And the only way he's going to get his money is if you get... Wait outside for the order. Thank you.
So it's just that simple.
Why is our excuse? You may step out.
If she don't get my money, she's not gonna get the dog. She didn't get my money, so she's not getting the dog.
I needed my money because he's not gonna give my dog back.
From the day she bought the dog been with me. She came from buying the dog straight to me.
He only spent one night with my puppy.
She don't have no time for that dog.
He sold it. He sold it to a lady and he can't get it back.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lindsay Clark versus Gilliard. Step forward.
Leanne Lindsay Clark is suing her niece, Janae Gilliard, and nephew, James Gilliard, for the value of a car and a loan for bail.
Miss Clark.
Yes.
The young woman is your niece. Is that your sister's daughter?
My sister's daughter, yes.
And the young man standing next to her is your nephew. That's also your sister's child.
Yes.
Same sister.
Yes.
And you are how old?
I'm 32 years old.
And you?
I'm 27 years old.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a program coordinator for a nonprofit organization.
And you?
Forklift operator.
And what do you do?
I was a substitute teacher. I have a degree in elementary education.
Miss Gilliard, you have children. How many?
I have 2 children.
How old are they?
They are 2 and 4.
And they are currently... How long have they been in placement with your aunt?
About a year.
You visit don't speak in...
Okay.
And they're placed by the courts.
That's correct.
This is what this case is about with regard to you. Your aunt says that there came a time, like sometime last year, that she, who has custody of your 2 children, purchased a car for you. She purchased a car for you, she says, with the understanding that you would use that car to sort of get yourself back on track so that you could regain custody of your children. So far, does that sound right?
I don't think the children have anything to do with it. I know that she's seen me struggling, and she...
How would I know about your children if she didn't tell me about your children in her complaint?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I assume that you visit the children, or that you visit... Does she take the children for you to see them someplace? Where do you see your children?
That doesn't have anything to do with a car.
Oh, this has everything to do with me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leanne Lindsay Clark is suing her niece, Janae Gilliard, and nephew, James Gilliard, for the value of a car and a loan for bail.
Okay, she says that, which is probably true, there is usually a plan for the biological parent to regain custody of their children. And usually, since in your case, it probably had something to do with drugs. Court said you have to have completed a drug program, you have to be tested for drugs periodically, you have to be working, and as part of that, that's your plan to get your kids back. And I'm actually 100% certain that that's what the plan was, for you to get your children back. Your aunt says that in order to help you with your plan, she purchased a car for you last year. And the agreement that she had with you was, as long as you stayed clean, sober, and was working towards getting your kids back, that was the deal. That's why she did it. That's what she says. And considering that there is some objective data that supports that, Ms. Gilliard, A, that you're 32 years old, you have a job, there would be no reason for your children to be out of your custody, placed by the courts with a non-parent, and that you acknowledge in your answer that you had an unclean drug test at some point, which is when your aunt came to get the car. That all makes sense. Those are objective facts. So the story that I sort of put together from that makes sense. But I will allow you, if you like, to clarify anything that I got wrong.
Sorry,
just clarify anything. Just clarify anything that you don't have to tell me the whole story.
The car was purchased off the basis of me keeping my job. She knew that I was walking to work, and she wanted to help me out. In Leavenworth, Kansas, they don't have any public transportation, and she knew I was walking 20 minutes.
Listen to me. Don't tell me what she knew. Because in the law, you can't decide what's in the operation of someone else's mind. What they knew, what they thought, what they cared about, what was important to them, that all calls for the operation of the mind. I want you to tell me subjectively what fact that I just stated for you was incorrect.
And that the fact that she she voluntarily said that she wanted to help me purchase a car.
And why would, now I can ask for the operation of your mind, because you're right here. I can say to you, here is somebody who is taking care of your 2 children, something that she didn't bargain for. I assume since she bought you this car, that your house is open to her so that you can visit the children, or that you visit, does she take the children for you to see them someplace? Where do you see your children?
That doesn't have anything to do with a car.
Oh, this has everything to do with me. Do you live with your aunt?
No, I don't. I see them in Leavenworth, Kansas.
At her house?
No, I don't go to her house.
At whose house?
I have a home that I bring them to.
How often?
What does that have to do with a car? I don't feel comfortable answering that.
Well, that's sort of interesting. That would lead me to sort of a lot of very interesting questions. And that would lead me to a lot of very interesting questions of whether or not there's something going on here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your complaint says that the reason you bought a car for her is because it was court-ordered. I don't believe that I will ever see a court order directing someone to have a car.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leanne Lindsay Clark is suing her niece, Janae Gilliard, and nephew, James Gilliard, for the value of a car and a loan for bail.
Now, usually when you don't want to answer a question, it's because you don't want to get into trouble.
No, it's because kids don't have anything to do with a gift, a car that was purchased as a gift.
Yes, it does.
No,
well,
it doesn't.
Actually, it does, and it's getting more to do with it, because when the children are placed with you,
yes,
they live with you.
Yes.
All the time?
All the time.
All the time?
Yes.
Well, that's not what your niece says. She says she takes them to her house where she has a home.
And she did at one time. She did.
At what time?
When they were having visitation that way. But now we just go down to the office, and that's where they visit.
Well, this is not going to go away. These questions are not going to go away. Was there a time when she was taking the children to her house?
Yes.
And was that permitted by the court?
Yes.
All right. And then something happened in order to make that supervised visitation.
Yes.
Just a minute. Listen, the two of you can decide that if you don't like these questions, if you don't like my questions, you can say, you know what, Judge, we're going to take my case back to wherever we came from in small claims court, because your complaint says that the reason you bought a car for her is because it was court ordered that she have a job, that she have a car.
Exactly.
There's a second. Not exactly. Court never orders that you have a car. I don't believe that I will ever see a court order directing someone to have a car, that you must have a car. The court will order that you have a job before you can get your children back.
But
so all of this is in the complaint. And pay careful attention, the two of you, so you can look at getting off this tear until I find out what's going on. So if you're not happy with this, say, we're going back to small claims court. Thank you very much. Do you understand?
I hear
you want to talk to him?
Yeah, I don't see what kids have to do with this at all. It's about a car. It's about a car.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
This is very, very easy. Either you're going to answer my questions about your children, the car, where they are, how long they've been there, whether you are taking them to your house now or not. These are all things that I am going to find are important to this car issue. Why she bought you the car, why she came to take it away. And if you're not comfortable answering those questions, you can say goodbye and leave. That's what you're going to do. Say goodbye and leave. If you're comfortable answering the questions, and I'm going to keep answering until I feel as if I have a truthful answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, you may not want to, neither may your brother want to answer questions, but they're going to be questions that are posed. So you want to talk to your brother for a minute?
No, I answer your questions.
Great. When were the children coming to your house? In what months and year?
I don't recall.
Okay, case is over. I would suggest that social services go pay a home visit immediately.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I said, I'll do it for your dog, not for you.
A sick pet wounds a friendship.
How much money did she pay for tests for your dog?
She donated money for a test.
I did not donate.
And a dog owner unleashes confusion.
I will get you the money.
That's not for my phone.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, here's what I do know.
No, just a second.
Can I show you a picture of the dog?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Karen Gallagher is suing her former friend, Paula Von Trias, for an unpaid loan to pay a vet bill.
Order. All rise. This case, Trias.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Gallagher, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for a loan that you made to her for tests for an elderly dog that she had.
Correct.
Unfortunately, the dog, despite the fact that it had the tests, passed away. And you want your money.
Yes, I do.
The defendant says it was never a loan, and because no good deed goes unpunished, the defendant is countersuing for $5,000 because she says that you harassed her and defamed her. Okay. What?
She threatened my life additionally. I filed a
You
police
had
report.
an old dog that needed tests.
No. My dog was 5 years old, 11 months. She got sick in June, where I took her to a vet and paid for all her expenses. I had her on a proactive, healthy plan, and
Did Miss Gallagher give you money for tests for your dog, or did she pay for tests for your dog?
She did not give me any money.
Listen to me carefully. Listen to my words. Did Miss Gallagher give you any money, or did she pay for tests for your dog? That was my question. That's either a yes or a no.
No.
So she did not pay for any tests for your dog.
She donated money for a test.
I did not donate.
Just don't answer her. Your dog, your tests. Now, how much money did she pay for tests for your dog?
I believe it was over occurrence.
She was a friend of yours?
She was a friend of mine.
Just a second. But she didn't live with you.
No.
So somehow she had to know that your dog needed tests because Karnak is no longer with us. You remember Karnak?
Johnny Carson.
Right. And she doesn't look like she has a crystal ball or a Ouija board, so that somebody had to tell her that your dog needed tests. That's either a yes or a no.
Yes, it
Who
is.
told her?
I told her.
In a conversation on the phone or in person?
In person.
Stop. I'm not talking to you. On the phone or in person?
In person, I have a picture of it. Picture of her passed out in my house with my dog now at her feet, and that's when she learned about the test.
No, she doesn't learn. She doesn't learn. You told her that your dog needed tests. I want you to tell me about the conversation you had for the first time with the plaintiff about your dog's test and the fact that you didn't either have insurance or the money to pay for it. Go. What date?
On December 31st, I called Karen.
Good. That's a start. On December 31st, you called. Don't interrupt. Okay. On December 31st, you called Karen and said,
I have to figure out how to get Kenzie tested to be paid by my insurance. That was paid. Fell apart.
So you called her and said, I have to figure out a way how to pay for Kenzie's tests.
That was it. And she said to me, will they take credit cards over the phone? I said, I don't know. She said, well, call them and call me back. I go, okay. So I called. They said, yes. I called Karen back. I said, yes, they do. She goes, give me the number. And that was it. That was it. And so a half hour later, I called down to the vet, and I said, did someone call about Kenzie at all? And she says, yeah, you're all set. Come on in. You want to make an appointment? I go, okay, thank you. That's what happened. There was no loan. I didn't have her credit card. She never gave me any money. There's no loan.
No, I'm not asking you whether she gave you money. I asked you at the beginning, did she either give you money or pay for tests for your dog? And the answer is yes, she paid for tests for my dog. And you say you picked up the phone and you called. Listen to me. Don't speak unless I'm talking to you. Okay. You called her up to ask her for money.
No, I did not.
Yeah, of course you did.
No.
Of course you did.
No, I did not.
Of course you did. You didn't call your butcher.
Excuse me,
you
I
didn't
did
call
not.
a grocer. You didn't call AT&T.
Judge Judy.
You didn't call Geico.
Judge
You
Judy.
called her. Listen to me. Listen to me. You called her and said, I don't know how I'm going to figure out how to pay for Kenzie's because the insurance didn't. I get it. It's really a question of responsibility. It's your dog. You're a grown woman.
True.
You're a grown woman. You should be able to take care of your own dog.
And I did.
No, you didn't. She did.
No, she did not.
She did $481 worth.
I have a witness here that can explain things for you because it was a donation. May I also tell you what she said on the phone? On the phone, she said before I got off the phone with her, she said
I was at her house.
I don't want you to speak.
Okay.
On December 31st, I was in my house. She was in her house. That's the fact. The other issue, she said, this is my cause. This is what I do. I donate to dogs. I love Kenzie. That was part of the call that I had with her when I first told her I was baffled why the insurance didn't get handled. And when I know 2 days later after the test, the lady who was handling it committed suicide.
Did anybody else help contribute to your dog's health care?
I did. For everything. No.
Other than you?
No.
Other than you
No.
and the plaintiff, did anybody else contribute to your dog's health care?
No.
The answer is either yes or no.
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 And there were more bills. So after that test, the vet couldn't figure out why my dog...
Don't tell me what the vet couldn't figure out.
Okay,
I'm not interested in hearsay. I'm only interested in this person, other than you, who took care of your dog.
She didn't take care of my dog.
Well, she did. She took care of $481 worth of bills.
Minus $60 that I paid that was applied to that bill.
So what?
But there was more tests after that. That first vet told me my dog needed an ultrasound. So I had to go I called the pound to ask for referrals because I didn't get any. And I got 3 referrals. So I found another vet who works with the nonprofits. She's at a nonprofit. She works and she agreed to take my insurance. So everything after that.
So what?
And my dog was diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease and very, very sick. And she was 5 years old and 11 months. And she was taken care of well by the second vet.
Ms. Ventrace, it's just a question of whether you're going to pay for your own dog or she's going to pay for your own dog. Now, I'd like you to tell me your version of the conversation that you had with the defendant when you found out that her dog needed these tests.
It was the night of December the 30th. I actually went over to her house, and we were discussing it, and she started crying, and she's saying that she's broke and she can't afford it. She needed the test done the next day, the 31st. So it's on my credit card. I called the next day.
What I want to hear is the conversation that I believe.
I said, Paula, you know that two things I don't do in life. I don't borrow money and I don't lend money. I said, no, you know, it's really this not for you.
This is not true.
I don't want to hear you.
Okay. Just letting you know.
This is true. It's totally true.
Let's go back.
So I went home. I told her, I said, look, I said, if I do this.
If it goes against my better judgment.
To do this, because.
It goes against my better judgment.
I know that it creates difficulties and issues with people when money becomes between friends. So the next morning she called me. She goes, I'm going to bring Kenzie in. She goes, are you still going to do what you're going to do? And
That's
I said,
not true, sir.
It is
what part of I don't want to hear you
sure.
now?
I'm sorry.
Didn't you understand?
I did understand.
Well, you didn't understand it the first time or the second. I yelled at her the same way.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So the next morning she called and said, do you want to do what you said you would do? And I said, do what? And she said, you know, and I said, pay for the test for Kenzie.
Do what you said you were going to do, and?
Meaning pay for Kenzie's test so I can take her into the vet.
And?
So I said, I'm on my way out the door. I said, how about if I just use my credit card over the phone? And she goes, oh, will they do that? I said, who wouldn't do that? And so I called the VCA and I paid it over the phone with my credit card. And then she called me back that afternoon and was all happy. It was December the 31st. We did see each other that night. The credit card charge hit my bill on January the 2nd because of the holiday. So she said she'd repay me, but she would back it up with the insurance check, which she was going to companies pay their claims within 10 days, 20 days tops. The dog died February 17th. I lent her the money on December 31st. She never made any attempt to pay me anything.
When for the first time did you ask her for the money?
I asked her several times over the phone, and then I have a couple of texts here.
I'd like to see the texts.
Okay.
Well, the dog died in February?
February 17th in my arms.
On the 29th of January, she says, you need to pay me back. And you said, I will when I get the money. Are you okay?
That's not from my phone.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, here's what I do know.
No, just a second.
Can I show you a picture of the dog?
I don't care to see the dog. I'm telling you, all of this is from your phone.
Can I share something here?
I'm just telling you
from Dave,
that on
I
January...
actually have text from her, too.
January... Well, show me.
I have text from her that's a...
Just all you...
I have many texts from her to explain the storyline. Thank you. Okay.
All I can tell you is you said to her when she said, you need to pay me back, and that was a month later, you said to her, I will when I get the money. Are you okay?
I have a phone and I have texts, and that's not on my phone. I'm sorry. It's
on my phone.
But what I do know...
That's who she owes you. Let us go to...
I actually have...
Let us go to...
Excuse me. I have witnesses here that they can prove it's a donation. This is Arlene. Could she speak?
Do you want to see the text? Do you want to see it before you testify? Do you want to see it?
I would like to.
But Judge Judy, could I ask a question?
No.
On the day Kenzie died, I was in her home, at her home afterwards, and she said to me, Paula, I love Kenzie. You don't have to pay me any money. It's a gift. It's
$481.
a gift. And she's a witness to it, because she said it to her as well.
Let's move on.
I'm sorry. I have a witness here, ma'am.
You already have the insurance money.
Listen, do you want me to hear any part of your counterclaim, or do you want me to just throw you out?
Can my witness speak, because she came up for it, please?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
I mean, there has to be a reason why somebody is moving out after they spend the time to move in, spend 2 days moving in, and in less than 15 days, she says you're miserable. I'm moving out. Why do you think that she did that, Mr. Butcher?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Karen Gallagher says her former friend, Paula Von Triez, owes for a loan to pay a vet bill. Paula is countersuing for threats, harassment, and defamation of character.
You said, I will pay you back as soon as I get the money. That's what you said to her. Now, the dog may have died in February, and everybody's very emotional in February when the dog died. But in January, before the dog died, you said to her, I will pay you back when I get the money. That's what you said to her.
Oh, everything that she said about the insurance and getting paid, it's not true. Everything.
$481. Your counterclaims dismissed. We're done.
Please? Judge Judy, I have evidence.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, it was absolutely correct. It was a loan to begin with, and I can't believe she turned it around and tried to turn it into a donation.
My witness here heard her say it was a donation.
I might have sent a text where it was out.
All the slander, harassment, and bullying that she did to me and the threat of my life.
You know, an empty threat just because I was so upset because she refused to pay me.
I should have trusted my first instinct, and she has a pretty good reputation in town.
That's what she does. That's her MO.
Right.
She doesn't work. She just tries to, take money from people.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Christensen versus Butcher. Step forward.
23-year-old Brianne Christensen is suing her former landlord, Joel Butcher, for the return of her deposit and personal property, and for lost wages.
Miss Christensen, you lived in the apartment as well. You just rented a loft, sleeping loft. You had kitchen privileges, I assume? That would be a yes. And you rented this place and gave him a deposit, moved in the end of March?
Yeah, March 28th.
Now, when you moved in, you moved your clothes?
I moved most of my clothing. I wasn't able to hang it, though, because
I don't need a whole story. You moved in your clothes?
Yes.
You moved in your shoes?
Yes.
You moved in your toiletries?
Yes.
Did she move in with boxes?
Yes.
I'm looking at him now.
She did.
She moved in with boxes. It was furnished, so she didn't need furniture.
Correct.
Who lived there before?
The previous tenant was a gentleman by the name of Avery.
And how long was Avery there?
Approximately 2 months.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Butcher?
I wait tables. I'm in the service industry in Park City, Utah, and then I also have a tree company that I run during the summer.
And she moved in all this stuff. Did she have a moving company, or did she do it herself?
She did it herself.
And how long did it take her?
2 to 3 days. And I believe the actual date was March 26th.
But it took her 2 or 3 days to move in.
Correct.
Mr. Butcher, why do you think somebody takes a loft, spends 2 days moving, schlepping her stuff into that loft? Requires a ladder to get up there, right?
Correct.
So she's got to take clothes, books, whatever. Why do you think someone would...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She paid you $1,200 when she moved in. Did you forget that?
It was first and last
Is there something wrong with your brain?
No, it was never deposited. It was first and last month's rent.
Mr. Butcher,
yes.
You've been spending too much time in Park City.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
23-year-old Brianne Christensen is suing her former landlord, Joel Butcher, for the return of her deposit and personal property, and for lost wages.
Why do you think someone would move out after a month if they were normal? She doesn't look abnormal. I say to myself, she wanted a place to live. She got a place to live. She gives you a deposit. She pays her rent. Right? Why do you think she was so unhappy that she packed everything up, gave you notice that she was moving out? She didn't give you 30 days notice, but she told you before that she was moving out, and you actually found she moved out in May, right?
Correct, May 19th.
And she paid you prorated rent for the 19 days, correct?
No, not correct.
How much did she pay you?
It was
in May?
In May, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Did you pay him anything for May?
Yes, I paid him $368 for the prorated rent, and I paid him $38. I paid him with a money order.
Do you have a copy of that?
Yeah. Here's the money order for the month of May. And here's my deposit for April.
$368 she paid you pro rata for May. And you had somebody move in June what?
June 1st.
How much was her deposit?
There was no deposit.
How much was your deposit?
$600.
She paid you $1,200 when she moved in. $600 for rent and $600 deposit. Did you forget that?
It was first and last month's
Is there
rent.
something wrong with your brain?
No, it was never a deposit. It was first and last month's rent, as it was stated in the ad. It was never a security deposit. There was no attachment, whether it be refunded.
Mr. Butcher.
Yes.
You've been spending too much time in Park City.
Maybe so. It's a nice place to spend some time.
It's a nice place. When you're 25, you've been spending a lot of time in Park City. Why did you move out after a month? You want to tell me? I mean, I don't care if she embarrasses you. She said that you had random people over there all the time. They left the door open all the time. That's why she moved out. I mean, there has to be a reason why somebody is moving out after they spend the time to move in, spend 2 days moving in, and in less than 15 days out. And I'm going to pay you for the 19 days that it takes me to find someplace else to live, but I can't live here anymore. Why do you think that she did that, Mr. Butcher?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
How old are you?
46.
You have to give her her deposit back. You knew you were moving. That would be a yes.
Yes.
You planned on moving.
Yes.
Well, I want you to explain to me why you didn't move with your, what you say, missing, your iPhone, your passport, your birth certificate, your social security card. What possible use does he have for your passport, your birth certificate, your social security card?
I was in such a hurry to move that I missed a few items, and they're still at his house. But when I came...
Do you have her passport, her social security card? Do you have that in your house?
I do not. She actually contacted my current roommate and made arrangements to retrieve those items.
I still have not been able to retrieve them.
Did you contact the new roommate?
I tried to, yes.
Did you speak to the new roommate?
Yes. She wasn't able to find them.
So he wasn't able to find. He doesn't have them.
I still believe they're there because I moved in with them.
You have to keep more careful track of your items. You knew you were moving for at least 3 weeks. It would suggest to me that those things you would take, a passport, your social security card, and certainly your iPhone. Goodbye, $600. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Are you excused? You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I can't prove that anything was taken, and that's fine.
I definitely believe we entered into agreement first and last month's rent. She broke the agreement.
People coming in and out of the house, just sketchy behavior, coming home intoxicated.
I have a 100-pound Rottweiler. People aren't coming and going.
Dealing cocaine in his kitchen when I was cooking my food.
At my age, former firefighter, cocaine isn't my thing.
I'm just glad to be out of there.
You put down the $1,000.
Money was an issue from the start.
We closed on the house in January.
Shh. And her annoyed ex just can't stop.
What part of don't speak unless I'm speaking to you didn't you understand?
I will be quiet.
No, I'm done with you. You could have been tied to him forever.
Right.
You were probably very lucky because I couldn't live with him for 2 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy.
How to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ashley Williams is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert Reynolds Jr., for money owed for a deposit on a home, a headstone for the child she miscarried, an assault, and harassment.
Order. All rise. It's case number 31 on the calendar in the matter of Williams versus Reynolds.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Williams, you and the defendant were involved in a relationship for a period of time, and you claim he owes you for 2 things.
Yes, ma'am.
The first thing is you lived together for a while in your home, and then Mr. Reynolds was going to buy a home.
Yes.
And under the, I think it was the VA bill,
Yes, ma'am.
he was allowed to buy a home without much of a down payment. He just had to put in earnest money, which was $1,000.
Yes.
And you put down $1,000
Yes,
earnest
ma'am.
money, and then you both moved into the house together.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month and year?
We closed on the house in January.
Of this year?
January 2019.
Shh. And so you moved in February?
Yes.
And you planned on living together?
Yes, we did.
When you closed on the house, you said we...
Abraham asked us for a down payment of $1,000, And we paid that, of course, prior, a good faith deposit.
What part of don't speak unless I'm speaking to you didn't you understand?
Yes, ma'am. We were required to put down money.
I know you were required to put down $1,000. You put down the $1,000. Then there was a mortgage. You lived there in February.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Where did you live prior to February? In your home?
Sullivan Road, an apartment.
It was just you living?
One-bedroom apartment.
And how long did Mr. Reynolds live with you?
He lived with me approximately 6 months before he moved into the home.
And Mr. Reynolds, is that correct that
No,
you...
ma'am, it is. No, ma'am, no, it's not, Judge.
Just say no.
Yes, ma'am.
How many months did you live
Approximately
with...
1 year. I'm sorry.
How many months did you live with Miss Williams in her apartment prior to moving into the house?
Approximately March to December when I closed on the home in January.
I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to ask you again. How many months did you live with Miss Williams prior to moving out and moving into the home?
Approximately 10 months.
And what were you doing to earn a living in that 10 months?
I'm a disabled veteran.
So you get something from the VA?
And I also work.
What kind?
And a houseman in Atlanta, Georgia since 1999. I worked several venues all throughout the city. I work at a temp agency. They send me off. That's why I met her on the job. I apologize,
I'm
Mr.
really
Trustee.
not interested.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
So you are a disabled veteran,
Yes,
in which you get a pension from the VA, and in addition, you do all kinds of other jobs all around the city. And how did you split the expenses for the 10 months that you lived with her? She paid rent in her apartment. Did you pay half the rent?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was your half of the rent?
Approximately.
Not approximately. Rent is never approximately. Rent is always an exact figure.
$100.
You paid $100
Yes,
a
ma'am.
month.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much was the total rent?
I think it's like $400, something like that. Watch. She's on the government subsidy.
All I want to know is, how much was the rent? If you don't know, say, I don't know. You're allowed to say, I don't know. You're allowed to say, I don't know what the rent was, but I gave her $100.
HUD Bash required her to pay $200 to $400 per month. She was at a HUD Bash home.
$240.
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave her you just said approximately.
I apologize, Judge Judy.
Do you know how much?
She would tell me.
You don't
Listen to me. I try to get my husband to say this all the time, these 3 words. We've been together 44 years. Recite the DNA code, but he can't say 3 words. You know what the 3 words are?
I don't know.
That's right.
I've watched you all your life. I've watched
That's
you.
right.
I've watched you.
Doesn't know.
Yes, ma'am.
It must be something in the male DNA gene. They'll make up a number, they'll make up a figure, they'll make up a... But they can't use those 3 words. Somehow it's emasculating when you say, I don't know. How many miles is it from here to Pluto? 4,968 approximately. I don't know is the answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go on. How much was your rent in the apartment where you were living?
$240.
And did he give you $100 a month?
Yes.
Good. So he helped you with the rent. Great. Now, you were able to save $1,000.
Yes.
And if you paid $240 in rent, then there must have been some kind of government subsidy of your rent.
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
I was in a program that paid for partial of my rent.
Do you work?
Yes, I'm a banquet server as well.
So you managed to save at least $1,000. You were able to put that down, and there was an understanding that you would be living together in this house. It didn't work out.
Yes,
so you want the $1,000 back.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, you don't get the $1,000 back. Because the fact you thought you were going to live together, you didn't in fact live together, but there was no contract that said it was a loan.
Yes, it was a loan. I emailed him and said it was a loan. It was not a gift.
Just a second. When did you email him and say it was a loan? Before or after you left?
Before I left.
Let me see. I didn't ask you anything.
Yes, ma'am. Can I please interject something, Judge Judy?
No.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. It's so funny, though.
Here you go.
No. That's in December. I let you borrow. You sent to him, I let you borrow $1,000. That's ridiculous. You have to have a contract. You have
proof. the receipts,
There's
the
no,
money order.
there's no question that you put down $1,000. The question is, was there a contract between the two of you that at some point, even if you lived together, he was going to return that money? And there was no agreement between the two of you. You have no contract that he was going to return that money, Miss Williams.
All right.
I mean, I read your case, and what I'm telling you is the only thing that has to be returned is an engagement ring. But if you live together and you're planning on living together and it doesn't work out and you put in $1,000 and he paid the mortgage in February and he paid the mortgage in March, you don't get that money back. We don't have down the $1,000. You said to him, Mr. Reynolds, this is a loan. I'm putting down the earnest money for the house, but I expect you to pay it back. And if you agree, I will give you the $1,000. And he says to you, I agree to pay you back. I will give you $100 a month or $200 a month in exchange for the $1,000. That has to be a contract. And there was no contract. You unilaterally telling him in a text message 3 months later, I let you borrow $1,000, it's not a contract.
All right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
The next part of your lawsuit is that, unfortunately, you became pregnant and lost the baby when you were in your 4th month. You claim that Mr. Reynolds is responsible for half the cost of a headstone because you decided to have a burial for the child that you lost, and you put up a headstone.
Yes.
And that cost you how much?
$800.
In what month did that happen?
November 2018 is when I lost the baby.
And you were still living together at the time?
Yes.
I'd like you to tell me the conversation that you had with him regarding the headstone.
The conversation was, there was $400 that I paid.
No. That's not a conversation.
Okay.
Because not everybody memorializes a miscarriage like that with a headstone.
Yes.
In the 4th month. So I would like you to tell me what was the conversation that you had with Mr. Reynolds regarding a headstone.
He said that he would pay for the monies that's the headstones due because he's the father.
Well, that's what you say he said. I want you to tell me the whole conversation from the beginning to end.
The beginning to end, he said...
Yeah, look at me.
Look at you. Okay. He said, I will pay for the remaining cost because he is a dad. Yes, he will.
Is that what you said?
No, ma'am. I most certainly did not.
No.
Here's the evidence for the cost and everything that I paid.
It's not a question of what you paid.
Okay.
It's a question of whether Mr. Reynolds agreed to participate in paying for the headstone.
He participated
and I asked
in making the child, so he was the father. No disrespect.
You're not disrespecting me. You're just not understanding me.
Okay.
I asked you to tell me about the conversation. You had a miscarriage. And after you had a miscarriage, you had a conversation with him. I said, not every miscarriage is memorialized with a headstone at that term in a pregnancy.
Yes, it's very...
So I want you to tell me about the conversation that you had with him. You said to him, I want to have a headstone. And he said to you, that's the conversation. I'm going to ask you where you were when you had the conversation, what time of the day. I'm going to ask you questions like that because he said that conversation never took place.
Well, ma'am, I was there. I was at the courthouse. I asked him, I said...
You were at the courthouse?
Yes, I was at the courthouse.
What were you doing in the courthouse?
I went in there to get some paperwork.
What?
Was Alfonso Dawson.
Okay, so you needed to go to the courthouse to get a death certificate?
Yes.
Some sort of a death certificate? Did they give you one?
No, they didn't. I had to go back to the funeral home, yeah.
And then did you get a certificate?
Yes.
Did Mr. Reynolds go with you?
No.
Did he go with you to the courthouse?
No.
Did he go with you back to the funeral home?
Yes.
And was it at the funeral home that the headstone was ordered?
Yes, it was months later. I got a quote for the funeral. We just discussed the burial procedures at the funeral home, Alfonso Dawson.
So there was no payment at the funeral home?
Yes, we paid. I paid $400.
You paid?
Yes.
Did Mr. Reynolds pay anything?
No, ma'am.
So you paid $400 for a burial?
Yes.
And he didn't pay half?
No, ma'am.
And then you bought a stone?
Yes, the stone.
And the stone was $800?
Yes.
So he didn't pay for half the burial. What made you think he was going to pay for half the stone?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
You see the defendant
Yes.
with her little girl.
Yes.
The little girl was crying.
Yes, she's consoling her. I see this pole that's got a cement in the bottom so the wind doesn't knock it over against my car.
Okay, come up here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Williams owes for a deposit on a home, a headstone, an assault, and harassment. Robert is countersuing for unpaid rent.
So you paid $400 for a burial?
Yes.
And he didn't pay half?
No, ma'am.
And then you bought a stone.
Yes, the stone.
And the stone was $800.
Yes.
So he didn't pay for half the burial. What made you think he was going to pay for half the stone?
I was just assuming that he would just go half with me.
Well, that's not something that you do in court, Miss Williams.
Yes, sorry.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So you seem like really a very, very nice lady.
Yes.
And it seems that you were a nice lady, and you were probably very lucky because I couldn't live with him for 2 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
I couldn't live with him for 2 seconds.
Right.
So a tragedy was averted.
Yes.
You could have been tied to him forever.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, right.
Do you understand?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
could have been tied to...
Right.
Because according to you, things got a little bad. He drinks?
Yes, yes, heavy.
Do you drink?
No.
I sort of know Mr. Reynolds drinks. Do you drink too much, Mr. Reynolds?
I most certainly do not, Your Honor. I always drink a glass of red wine every once in a while for my digestion. My nerves are bad with this young lady, and I have...
Well, you're not living with her for a long time, so how could your nerves be bad? They can't be bad with me.
She constantly lies, disappears, block her phone number.
All right, Mr. Reynolds, I'm done with you, sir.
Please, I will be quiet.
I'm done with you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm done with you because your counterclaim is for the rent you say she owes you for the few months that she lived there because she lived in your house and didn't split the mortgage. That's what you want.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good. Goodbye!
Judge Judy, I have a case.
Excuse you,
Judge Judy,
step out.
please.
We're here today because of because of our loan.
Get in the courtroom and start lying about there's no tombstone, okay?
We're here for
She never purchased one, okay?
just pain and suffering that I had to go through.
That is not my child. I'm certain, and I wanted the DNA.
The child is his, yes.
Boom, that's right.
Don't deal with no good men, no good guys, yes.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Page versus Jackson. Step forward.
Shalitha Page is suing Brandy Jackson for car repair bills after Brandy's daughter knocked over a parking sign, damaging her vehicle.
Miss Page, it is your claim that the defendant's little girl, that's this little girl here, is responsible for damage to your car.
Yes.
So I'd like you to tell me when that happened, where it happened, and how it happened.
On February 13th, I had pulled up to pick my girls up from the Boys and Girls Club, and I had pulled up in front. My girls were on their way out, and I hear this loud boom. I didn't realize if it was my system or...
I don't care what you heard of.
I didn't see them, but I hear someone honking, and at that point, I knew that I needed to get out of my car, and so I got out of my car, and when
you say you heard a boom, you know if something hits your car. Did you feel something hit your car?
I have a system in my car.
What?
I have a system in my car, and I listen to loud bass music, and it was so
That's
I was just
annoying.
like I didn't know what happened. So when I heard the person honking their car, I knew at that point I needed to get out of my car. So I put my car in park. I got out and came around, and I saw these two in the back corner of my car. Her daughter was crying hysterically. She's trying to comfort her, tell my kids to get in the car, and I'm like, I see the sign.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The intervening act that caused damage to her car was the fact that you didn't have control of your daughter.
But she wasn't supposed to be parked there in the first place, Your Honor.
Now, do you have any other argument that you want to make? I just made it very fast.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Shalitha Page claims Brandy Jackson's daughter knocked over a parking sign, damaging her car.
You see the defendant
Yes.
with her little girl.
Yes.
Her little girl was crying.
Yes.
I want you to take step by step. So you see her little girl is crying. And
That's got a cement in the bottom so the wind doesn't knock it over against my car. And after I tell my kids to get in the car.
So your children came out
Yes.
of the Boys and Girls Club.
Two of
You
them.
tell them to get into the car. This pole with the cement block
Yes.
is leaning against your car.
Yes.
Okay. Come up here. Tell me your name.
Sydney?
You remember what happened with the lady's car?
Uh-huh.
Do you go to the Boys and Girls Club?
Not anymore, it's closed.
But did you go for a time?
Uh-huh.
And tell me what happened with the pole and the lady's car.
Me and my mom were walking outside, and I grabbed a hold of the pole, and it fell over.
And it fell over. You didn't mean to do that.
Mm-mm.
No, of course not. Okay, go and sit down. You're a very pretty little girl and very smart. Terrific. So was there a scratch on your car?
Several.
I'd like to see a picture of it.
These are just so you can see what kind of car I have, but there's that. And then here's the actual pole and the damage.
Okay, can I see an estimate for the damage,
Yes.
please? Okay. You have anything you want to tell me?
I do.
Well, let's make it brief because you're responsible for her damage. $452 is what it's going to cost. You have an adorable little girl who told me that she grabbed hold of this pole.
Yeah.
Whether she grabbed hold of it or she was trying to stand on it, she's your responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
She's a child. You have to watch her.
Yes, ma'am.
If because of her actions, the plaintiff's car did not fly into the pole,
No.
there was an intervening act. And that intervening act was the fact that you didn't have control of your daughter. So if you're going to tell me that she wasn't supposed to be parked there because it's no parking, that's not the reason that her car was damaged.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the reason her car was damaged was because you weren't in control of your child. That's the reason. And it says no standing, no drop-off, no pickup. That's not the reason her car was damaged. So I don't want to hear that. So forget that argument.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the arguments. Your car should not have been, sue the city, not me, because they should not have put the sign up there. And if the sign wasn't there, then your daughter wouldn't have been able to topple it over into the plaintiff's car.
Right.
Both of those arguments fail. Now, do you have any other argument that you want to make? I just made it very fast.
Okay.
Those were the two you made in your
Yeah, I'd
defense.
like for you to see these. This is what the sign is in.
I know
which
what
makes
the
me
sign
think,
is in. I see it.
I think this happened before.
No, that's
Just a second. So now it's happened before.
I'm just assuming by the judge, by the looks of the bucket.
It doesn't matter. The intervening act that caused damage to her car was the fact that you didn't have control of your daughter.
Right,
Your
she
daughter,
wasn't supposed to be parked there in the first place, Your Honor.
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $452. We're finished.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I would